I'm Greg Quiz.
And I'm Brad Blackwell. On behalf of Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, we want to welcome you to today's webcast featuring Brian Buffini, the final in our Thrive in Any Market series this year. And with the end of the year at hand, we need to be thinking about next year, and not just thinking about it, but planning for it.
That's right. Today, Brian will focus on how you can stand out from your competition with the right approach to complement your planning for 2011. We invite you to enjoy Brian's wit and wisdom for the next hour because you'll learn proven strategies and techniques that will turn your customers into walking and talking billboards for you.
And that's important. At Wells Fargo Home Mortgage, we believe in helping our clients succeed, and that's why we're sponsoring this webcast today. We want to help you capture the opportunities that the market offers.
One of the best ways to prepare is to work with a trusted lender. When you work with Wells Fargo, you have the added confidence that only comes from working with a healthy, well-managed community bank. From helping you build business, to approving your buyers, to closing your loans on time, no other lender is as committed to adding value to real estate professionals like you in all the ways that count.
It is our pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Brian Buffini. Now, Brian built his fortune as a realtor by implementing a sophisticated lead generation system that ensured a predictable supply of high-quality referrals for you.
In 1995, he founded Buffini & Company to share his powerful referral systems with others. Headquartered in San Diego, California, Buffini & Company is now the largest real estate training and coaching company in all of North America.
You know, Greg, Brian has trained over 1.5 million sales professionals how to accelerate business while balancing their lives. Those in his coaching programs are earning 7 times the national average in income.
Watch and listen as Brian delivers another dynamic presentation designed to help you thrive in any market.
All right, welcome everybody. Well, the top of the morning to you. There's some of you who know, okay. When an Irishman says the top of the morning to you, the response is always, and the rest of the day to you. Can we try that together? And everybody watching at home, here we go. The top of the morning to you. And the rest of the day. Now you're set up. Well, welcome everybody. This is being broadcast over 3,300 locations all over the United States. And we have about 100 folks in our office here at Buffini & Company. And we want to have a great time together today. We want to learn a lot. And can we give a big shout out to all the folks who are watching today live? Okay, just let them know. There we go. Great stuff. Well, we're going to have a great time together today. And I am so proud to be here with you. And very, very proud of our association with Wells Fargo. Many of you know us and know our company very well. We are an organization that's dedicated to championing the real estate agent's business and life. That's what we do. And those of you who are in the studio today, you can see, you know, here it is. We have an 87,000 square foot headquarters, and all we do is coach and train real estate agents. That's all we do. And we're totally dedicated to it, and that's kind of where we've made our name. And it's interesting in these times, when things are tough, that's when you find out who you have in your life. Would you guys agree? Yes. And during the last couple of years, because of the market and the economy, many people who've served the real estate community in the past have pulled back the services to support realtors. Many of the great real estate companies, even in our industry, because of budgetary requirements, have had to pull back the things they do to serve realtors. I'm very excited because over the last couple of years, every single month, every single quarter, Wells Fargo has intensified their efforts to try to support the real estate community. They have worked in conjunction with our company to try to reach as many realtors as we can. And the proof's in the pudding. You talk about standing out amongst the competition. At a time like right now, when we all know that the refi market is off the charts. Is that true? Yes. I mean, they're giving money away right now. That rather than just focus on refi business, here's Wells Fargo. Not just with this, not just with our live events, not just with the Cine meetings, but the 150,000 people we've served and helped together at Wells Fargo and Buffini Company this year invest in their time into you as real estate agents. I think we owe them a debt of gratitude and a big round of applause here. Why don't you applaud for all the folks watching, okay? Great stuff. Today I want to help you stand out amongst the competition. Now here's the first thing I want to give you great news on. You're already standing out amongst the competition because you're here. A third of the competition has left the business. Is that a good thing? Yes. Yes? I mean, I'd use an Irish analogy. If I have 12 people coming over on a Friday night to have a pint of Guinness with me, and only 9 of them show up, what should my reaction be? Woohoo! Exactly. There's a college girl. It's absolutely. And a Wells Fargo person. Okay, that's good to know. More beer for us. Is that a true statement? Yes. Now, so if you have 5 million transactions a year, which is a pretty solid year, about what we'll do this year, about what we've averaged for the past 10 or 12 years, and there's a quarter the less people around to do it, you know, there's 800,000 to 1 million transactions that got put back in the pool for the serious-minded professional, for the career-minded professional. I've seen in our live events in the last quarter about 20,000 people. One of the things that has not surprised me, but it's been very confirming of what industry we're in right now, is when I ask how many people in the audience that have been in the business 5 years or more, it's 95% of the people. And the folks that are new to the industry got in the last couple of years when they knew things were tough. So they didn't get in thinking this is easy money. Because there's no doubt a hot market brings all kinds of people into real estate. Is that a true statement? Yeah. Right here in Carlsbad, California, here just a few years ago, right on Armada Drive, a lady got pulled over for speeding. And the cop says to her, "Ma'am, I need to see your real estate license." And she goes, "Officer, don't you mean my driver's license?" He goes, "No, ma'am, not everybody has a driver's license, okay?" And so everyone and anyone had a real estate license. Is that a true statement? Yes. And so the dynamic is, you know, who's a professional and who's not. So listen closely. First and foremost, you need to understand you're already standing out amongst the competition because you're here, because you're in the business, because you've survived one of the worst real estate recessions in 50 years. And so the fact that you're still in the business says a lot about you, and people know that. People have seen real estate offices close down. Is that a true statement? They've seen the shingles disappear. They've seen the for lease sign in the strip mall. They know people in their database. Everybody knows a couple of realtors. Is that true? They've seen licensees disappear. Don't underestimate what you're in right now. You are in an opportunity-rich environment. Now, I know it doesn't feel like that, because opportunity always comes packaged with fear, worry, doubt, and apprehension. Based on those four emotions, how many of you here today are really in an opportunity-rich environment? Could I see your hands? Yeah. And I know what I'm talking about. I came to this country with $92 in my wallet. Now people come today and they tour the corporate facilities and they hear all the great stories and the millions of people we train and all that kind of good stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just tell you, I got into this business in an opportunity-rich environment like this. And I was able to build my fortune, being faithful one day at a time, one client at a time. And one of the things I did that really helped me in my career was I differentiated myself from the competition. So this is a big deal. And so this is one little sliver of our whole working by referral system that I want to lay in and kind of help you with today, okay? So if you have a notepad and pen, now's a great time to take it out. If you have a question, all of you folks who are watching, here's all you got to do. You just got to click right here on the screen and just email us a question. We're going to take at the end of our time 5 or 6 email questions. We're also going to take a question from someone in the audience. So if you have a question, when we get into question time, make your way over to that microphone over there so we can hear from you as well, okay? Here it is. 3 major points on how to stand out from the competition. You'll want to write this down. Here's number 1. Set yourself apart. Set yourself apart. Number 2, position yourself properly. Position yourself properly. And number 3, interview your best advocates. Interview your best advocates. So set yourself apart, position yourself properly, interview your best advocates. Say those 3 things with me. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Set yourself apart, position yourself properly, interview your best advocates. This is a big deal. Because in real estate, we go to extraordinary lengths to set ourselves apart. Everybody knows that. And we have to. We have to set ourselves apart. When somebody comes to a real estate agent, what do? I provide great service. Is that true? I provide great service. How many of you in here, by a show of hands, believe you provide great service? Let me see your hands. Yeah. It'd be tough not to raise your hands, wouldn't it? Oh, I do a lousy job. Yep. Now, we have about 100 folks in here. Would you say that in the 100 folks in this room, everybody provides great service, but you might have a different way of doing it? Is that true? You might have a different style and a different tension level. There might be a different quality. Out of the 3,300 locations watching this live, and many of them with ballrooms just like this, thousands of people watching, there's different quality service. So when you say service, it means nothing in the ears of the consumer. Here's what they hear. Have you ever eaten a food that was new to you and somebody says, what does that taste like? And you go, well, it kind of tastes like chicken. And they go, oh, how was a rattlesnake? You know, I've eaten rattlesnake, been in Arizona many times. Eat rattlesnake, guess what it tastes like? Chicken. Alligator. Chicken. Okay? Okay? Been overseas. I've presented in 37 countries. I've eaten some things that didn't taste like chicken too, by the way. I mean, I wish they did. So when you say the word service, you know what the consumer hears? Chicken. And if they can't tell the difference between the two of you, and it just gets down to which one I like the best, then it's going to get down to this. How much do you charge? How much do you charge? They both taste like chicken. You're 4% and you're 5%. You're 6% and you're 7%. Okay, I'm going to go where it's cheaper. Does that make sense, yes or no? Yes. Right now, a lot of agents, their only response to setting themselves as part in the marketplace is to charge less money. Just so you know, over the course of every recession in real estate, the people who charge the least are the first companies to go out of business. Every time, and it's happened again. And I don't want to make anybody feel bad. I can give you a list of major franchise operations that were all built around the lowest fees possible. Gone. Charging the least amount tends not to work in this industry because it's a service business. And if I charge you 1%, or if I charge you 3%, or if I charge you 6%, you know what? It's still a family that requires a bunch of work, a bunch of paperwork, a bunch of liability, still a bunch of emotions, still have to go through today's market and today's challenges where every single escrow is like delivering a breech baby. Is that a true statement? Right? We have to ask ourselves the big theological question. Do appraisers really go to heaven? Right? Isn't these the things we have to ask? So the fact of the matter is, whether you charge 1% or 6%, the transactions are still a heck of a lot of work. People are still uptight. People are still out of sight. Is that a true statement? Yes. So service tastes like chicken. Price, that's the only differentiator I have. So what do? We go to these extraordinary lengths. And one of the things that hit the real estate business in the early 1980s, mid-1980s, and really gathered steam throughout the 90s was the whole concept of personal promotion. And so what happens is we're going to personally promote ourselves. That's what I'm going to do to set myself apart. How many of you have ever seen a real estate car driving down the freeway and it was just covered in tchotchke? Let me see your hands. Yeah. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, there's a part of me that admires that someone's willing to put themselves out there. Nothing wrong with that at all. But setting yourself apart in the marketplace. Let's take a little look. If you go to Google Images and you search in Google Images and you put in the word realtor. Now, the National Association of Realtors, huge organization. There's a gazillion realtors out there all promoting themselves. But you put in Google Images, here's one of the first images you'll see under realtor. Yeah. Come on, baby. Come on. That's right. Huh? Look at that. Is that beautiful? Where does he get that jacket? I want that jacket. And there's just a trail following that guy. Isn't that true? Okay? And that's one of the images that comes up for the consumer. Are you guys hearing me? So what are the other things we do? Well, most of us won't paint the car 14 different colors. Most of us won't do stuff like this. But here's where the real estate image will go. The famous notepad. Here's how I'll set myself apart in the marketplace. I'm going to send people I don't know something they don't need. Okay, little quiz, not trying to step on any toes, but my mission in life is to comfort the afflicted and to afflict the comfortable, okay? How many of you in here have ever gone on a listing appointment, listed a home, and there was a notepad of another realtor in the home? Come on, let me see your hands. Let me see your hands. Now, this is not noble, but you got to try this. One of my favorite things to do was when I would list a home is I would meet with the seller and say, okay, based on just doing a little inspection or whatever else, we agreed on the price, the terms. We need to do a few things to put the home in a great condition to sell. Make it as available as possible to show. So let's do this. Let's make a little list, a little fix-up list, and maybe a couple of little tips that I'm going to give you to put yourself in the best position possible to sell the house.